Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be about one of my favorite topics, eyeshadow palettes. These are going to be the best eyeshadow palettes for winter, according to me. I realize it's not actually winter yet. That's not for a few more weeks, but I've always been someone who right after Thanksgiving, I'm like, it's winter. Even I used to live in a very, very warm state and it was like 75 in the winter. And after Thanksgiving, I was like, I'm wearing sweaters. Winter is here. So that's just how my mind works. I love eyeshadow palettes, definitely my favorite part of makeup. I like to do this video seasonally. I've been doing that for the last year on my channel. So if you want to see other eyeshadow palette related videos, check out the eyeshadow palette playlist. I will link that in the cards and in the description box. And I did film this makeup look for the Reviving Old Palette series. I will link that if you want to see this makeup look. And yes, so you can see other get ready with me's in that playlist. And yeah, let's just get started. For the colder months, I definitely imagine more cool toned eyes, dark smoky eyes, kind of blues as well. That's just kind of what I think of. This is a quad by Charlotte Tilbury and I really need to use this more. This is the Rock Chic quad and this is very gray, cool toned. This is really, really pretty. I need to pull this out for the season for sure. This needs to go in my Shop My Stash. It's very, very beautiful. This kind of topper shade there is so nice. I tend to not reach for my smaller palettes, so I really need to try to do that. And then another one that I think is perfect is Tom Ford in Nude Dip. This is so expensive, but I bought this at a CCO for like 65% off, so that's how I justified it. It is a very beautiful formula. Very pretty, like satiny shades. These are really nice. It's a bit more cool toned, neutral. Definitely not as cool toned as that quad that I just showed you, but this color here just like reminds me of a sweater. I don't know, it just makes me want to wrap myself up in a warm sweater. That's what I imagine. This is a really pretty quad and I definitely need to use it. And then another smaller palette, the Smashbox Punked Eyeshadow Palette. This is really nice. This is also more cool toned, leaning purple. So you've got a silver here, but this is a very purple taupey palette and really pretty. This formula is really good. I don't hear many people talking about this formula anymore. These palettes had a bit of a spotlight a few years ago and they've kind of been forgotten about. So yeah, these are some of the things I need to pull into my Shop My Stash. One of these palettes that I'll show you is in my current Shop My Stash. I haven't even had a chance to use it yet, but I need to pull some of these out. Now the next palette is very different from those. The Natasha Denona Gold palette. Now this is like something I imagine for holiday parties, like New Year's look, intense, sparkly. You do have these blue shades as well. This is a really fun palette and so sad she's discontinuing this one. I think this is a really, really interesting palette. I mean, I could wear it year round and I usually do. I mean, I'm wearing what would probably be considered a spring look today, but it's fine. It is what it is, but I think this is a really fun, sparkly palette and this would be really fun for some holiday looks. Another very sparkly palette is the Friendcation palette by Dose of Colors. This is also sadly discontinued, but I know a lot of people have this one. This was very popular and these very sparkly shades here are so awesome. Definitely for a dramatic like night look. I think this one is a duochrome purple to blue. I don't know if you can see that. It's not really showing up, but this is a really pretty palette. I mean, you can also do easy everyday looks with this, but if you go over to this side of the palette, you can get some really, really intense sparkly looks. And yeah, this one is a whole lot of fun. And this is one I do want to do for the Reviving Old Palette series. I have not yet gotten around to that, but it's on the list for sure. This is the one that's in my current Shop My Stash and I haven't used it yet, but I love this palette. I haven't used it for several months, but when I did use it, it's fantastic. This is the BH Cosmetics Beautiful in Barcelona palette. Very stunning color story. You've got some cool tones. You've got some warm tones. A lot of smoky shades. You can do some really pretty smoky eyes with this palette. You've got the blue, you've got the dark purple, kind of like taupey colors too. This is really, really nice. I love the BH Cosmetics formula. It's one of my favorites. I really think if I had to pick my top 2 eyeshadow formulas, Natasha Denona and BH Cosmetics, then maybe Pat McGrath would be third. But I really think BH and Natasha Denona are my top 2 absolute favorites. This palette is stunning. I really, really enjoy it. And yeah, I'm excited to do some looks with my Shop My Stash. The next one is the Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. I've mentioned before that I didn't love this when I first got it, but the more I used it, I fell in love with this palette. I think the formula is amazing and the color story is so much fun. So you've got silver, you've got the blues, these purples, taupes, combination of cool tones, neutrals, colorful shades. This is a really fun palette, and I know she just had her Black Friday sale, and yeah, this one is usually on sale along with the green brown palette. I do have both of them, and the more I've used them, I really do love them. And I actually think that these are formulated a bit better than some of her newer palettes. Depends which one I'm talking about. But yeah, this one is fantastic. A lot of fun looks. I mean, you can also do some really pretty, you know, springtime looks. And again, you can do whatever eyeshadow look you want. That's what I usually do. But definitely like the taupes and the silvers and the blues definitely give me the winter vibes. And also, yeah, this formula is amazing. I did do a look with the green brown palette for the Reviving Old Palette series, and I do want to do a look with this one too. So that is on my list. And yeah, let us know. Did you get anything from the Natasha Denona Black Friday sale? I did not. I didn't buy any makeup for Black Friday, by the way. I did buy other things, but no makeup. Moving on, the Sultry palette. Have to talk about this one. So cool toned and beautiful and sparkly. This is definitely something I imagine for dramatic New Year's looks, even though I usually go to bed by like 10:30. It's fine. This is a really fun palette. I like that you have a black eyeshadow to really get a smoky look, or this very, very deep brown. Dystopian is stunning, and the shimmers, I mean, this color Cyborg is a silver, but it's very interesting. It has a bit, just like a slight hint of lilac in it. It's a really interesting shade. Rose Quartz, beautiful. One of my favorite eyeshadows of all time. This random shade Bloom, I do not like this shade. I don't like the way I look in coral eyeshadow. I feel like it makes me look sick or something. So this shade, could do without that one. But the rest of the palette, I really, really love it. You've got, you know, the gray, the cool tone browns. It's great. Very beautiful. Again, this is one I want to do for the Reviving Old Palette series, but yeah, very good. I don't know, is this one still around? I remember they got rid of it, but then they did bring it back. I should look up to see if it's actually still available, but I know a lot of people have that palette. Another amazing cool toned palette is the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I think these are different enough from each other, the Sultry, because there's no black eyeshadow in this one. And this one is actually less cool toned than Sultry, which I think may work for a lot of people. It leans a bit more neutral. It's definitely cool toned, but I think it pulls more neutral, which may make it more, you know, versatile for more people. The silver shade in here is definitely different than Cyborg and the Sultry palette. It's more of a true like gunmetal silver, whereas like that one I said, it does have a bit of purple in it. It's very, very interesting. I do wish this had a black eyeshadow. I mean, obviously I can use a black eyeshadow from a number of palettes, so I don't really mind, but I think if I only owned a few palettes and this was one of them, I would want to have a black eyeshadow to really get a smoky look. So often when I do looks with this palette, I do sometimes reach into other palettes for that, which again, I don't mind, but you know, if I had a small collection, that is something that maybe a bit more of a criticism for me with this palette, but I think this is beautiful. And this shade is actually, what's this one called? Oh yeah, this is where it's like called Center Eyelid, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's as fun. I like fun names more. But anyway, this shade is very similar to Rose Quartz in the Sultry palette. So They are similar. I do not think that they are identical. I think Sultry is more cool toned than the Glam, but I love both. I do prefer the Natasha Denona formula over the Anastasia formula, but I don't know, for an eyeshadow palette lover like me, I can justify having both of these palettes because I do think that they are different enough, but you definitely don't need both. And last but not least is one of my favorite discontinued palettes, BH Cosmetics Royal Affair. This I got for $7 at a Marshall's a few years ago, and I still love this palette. I wish they had not discontinued it. I think this is such a beautiful palette because you have a lot of cool tones and warm tones and neutrals, a few pops of color. I think this is so nice. This blue definitely reminds me of like an icicle or something like that. And this silver is really, really nice. This is probably a bit closer to the silver in the Sultry palette, but doesn't quite have that bit of lilac in it. I really enjoy this palette. It's such a nice color story. I love the combination of the warm tones and the cool tones. And you have like these deeper shades like this beautiful burgundy, the very dark green. This is such a nice palette. I think this is one of the best color stories BH Cosmetics has ever done. And I still think the formula is very good. I would say the newer palettes like the Avocado Toast and Beautiful in Barcelona are formulated just a little bit better than this. It could also be that this is an older palette. I've had it for, I think, 2.5 years or something like that. So that could be part of it as well, but I still think this is great and I really enjoy the colors in here. That is it for this video. I really want to pull some of these palettes into my Shop My Stash pretty soon. And yeah, if you want to see my Shop My Stash videos, I have a playlist for that. And I also have an eyeshadow palette playlist where I have tons of ranking videos and other seasonal palette videos. Also, the Reviving Old Palette series, like I said, I filmed this makeup look for that, so you can check that out if you are interested. I'm excited to also maybe film some looks with some of these palettes as well, because I realized none of these, oh no, Glam. I did do a look for the Reviving Old Palette series for the Glam palette, but that's the only one here that I filmed a look with so far. But I would like to do more. So yeah, that is it. Let us know, are you into more seasonal makeup or do you just wear whatever you like, which is what I usually do. Like I said, today I'm wearing pink and purple, which I was just in the mood. So yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.